is SMNI News Channel. Truth that matters.
Good evening, Philippines, and good day, world. It's Friday, November 17th, 2023, and you're watching Newsline World. I'm Kristel Guangco, and we will bring you the top stories we've gathered from all over the globe. Pastor Apollo maintains that SMNI remains unfazed in delivering truth that matters to the people. On the Israel-Palestine conflict, the number of deaths on both sides has surpassed 12,700 as Israeli forces and Hamas continues to attack each other. Former President Rodrigo Duterte says he is not in favor of recalling the ambassador of the Philippines to China. U.S. President Joe Biden doubled down on his remarks of calling Chinese President Xi Jinping a dictator following the U.S.-China summit. And Thailand's Prime Minister toured Tesla Fremont Factory amid a potential partnership in a bid to make Thailand a manufacturing hub for EVs in ASEAN. This and more for tonight's edition of Newsline World. First in our news, Pastor Apollo Kibuloy reminded those who are criticizing Vice President Sara Duterte and legislators who have separated from the political party of former President Rodrigo Duterte. Val Dividigracia has the details.
Pastor Apollo Kibuloy of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ expressed in his program Spotlight that politicians who criticize Vice President Sara Duterte and lawmakers who have separated from the party of former President Duterte are also ruining their own political careers. According to Pastor Apollo, it appears that these individuals lack principles and convictions and are easily swayed by money.
I will tell you, I'm not a politician and you are, and you ought to know by wisdom that what you are doing is a kiss of death to all your political career. And Sarah will soar in popularity the more.
Yes.
The more. Makikita ninyo yan. You say, ito 120 members. 120 members lang yan. And who vote for them? The people in the PDP Laban party when they were in the PDP Laban. And you think those people will go with them? It is also a kiss of death for them because they show their true colors. And those that remain in principle, in a principled political career they have, yun ang iboboto ng tao.
Yes.
Kasi hindi na blind ang Pilipino.
Yes.
So, makikita ninyo yan.
Furthermore, the good pastor mentioned that some congressmen are using former President Duterte as a reason and are connecting the former president to the destabilization plot against the Marcos administration. However, the truth is that money is the reason why these individuals transferred and left PDP Laban.
Itong mga congressman nagsilipat, pagkatapos ginagamit nilang reason yung si Pangulong Duterte nasa sa likod ng destabilization. May mga researcher man kayo. At kayo, kahit wala kayong researcher, bakit kayo naging congressman? Di ba may utak kayo? Kami nga alam namin eh. Kayo pa. Reason lang ninyo yon.
Yes.
That is just a reason to cover up your being unprincipled.
Yes.
Para makoberan lang. What is the answer? Money, money.
According to Pastor Apollo, these politicians have no respect for themselves. Because of this, he mentioned that the people will remember those who left the party of the former president and they will no longer be voted for again.
Kayo mismo wala ng respeto sa sarili nyo eh. Di ba? Sa ginawa ninyong yan, you don't even respect yourself now. And you expect us to respect you? No. The people knows. The people will hate you. The people will not vote for you.
Yes.
The next time you will ask for their vote. Kala ninyo, matutuwa ang tao sa inyo? Sabi ni Pangulong Duterte kagabi, bakit kayo naglipatan? The people voted for you when you were PDP Laban. Bakit kayo naglipatan? Because of money. Alam ng tao yun. Na kayo, money lang. Pera-pera lang. Ganito pa ito mga leader, pera-pera lang.
Pastor Apollo emphasized that because of the principles of former President Duterte, he was more loved by the people. He also mentioned that it is possible, with the popularity of the former president, to affect the political careers of destructive politicians because there is a possibility that Filipinos will still follow him.
Duterte was nothing before, but because of his values and principle, he shot up to the top. Nako, pag yang si Pangulong Duterte tumayo at nagsabi ito'y boboto natin, the people will all vote for that.
Yes.
Pag sinabi niyang hindi ninyo iboboto to, patay kayo. Your political career is over. Kahit mandaya pa kayo. Hindi lang nababasa yun.
Iba yung interest.
Iba yung kasi interest niyo. Kaya bulag kayo eh.
Yes.
Pansamantalang bulag kayo. Yun ang sinasabi nila.
At present, the PDP Laban led by former President Rodrigo Duterte, which previously had 120 members in Congress, has dwindled to only 15 congressmen due to the majority transferring to the ruling party. Meanwhile, based on the latest Octa research survey, despite the issues faced, Vice President Sara Duterte remains the most trusted government official. For God and my beloved country, the Philippines, this is Valdivina Gracia, SMNI News.
Vice President Sara Duterte is again defended by Pastor Apollo C. Quiboloy from those trying to ruin her image. The good pastor also echoed former President Rodrigo Duterte's challenge to leftist groups to undergo audit. Daniela Paulete reports.
Pastor Apollo C. Quiboloy of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ again defended Vice President and Education Secretary Sara Duterte from leftist Congress members who are relentlessly tarnishing her image to the public eye. This comes after Gabriela Party List Representative Arlene Brosas persistently raises the issue of the confidential funds of the Office of the Vice President, urging the Commission on Audit to release the audit of said funds.
How many times that has already been explained by the Vice President? Matitigas talaga ang ulo. How many times? In-explain na niya yan, pinakita niya yung audit. That people knows that already. They know that Sara is not corrupt. She did not corrupt all of this. Binigay sa kanya yon in 11 days, dapat gastusin niya, kundi pupunta doon sa next year at maku-question pa siya.
Meanwhile, Pastor Apollo challenged the leftist Congress members to disclose to the public how they use their funds, similar to the challenge posed by former President Duterte to other Congress members.
Kayong tatlo, ipakita ninyo kung saan yung ginamit ang perang ginagamit ninyo from the Congress. Pera namin yan. Pera ng bayan yan. Pakita ninyo kung saan. Ngayon, ang inihingi naman ng Pangulong Duterte, kayo naman ang i-audit.
Yes.
Kayo dyan, number 1, kayong tatlo. Raul Manuel, ikaw, Rosas, at saka si Franz Castro. Saan ninyo nilagay ang mga perang tinatanggap ninyo sa bayan? Because congressman kayo, congresswoman. Anong project ang inyong ginawa? At ano ang ginamitan ninyo sa perang tinanggap ninyo? Pakinggan yung Pangulong Duterte kagabi. Saan ninyo ginamit yan?
Pastor Apollo is confident that the public will continue to trust Vice President Sara, remembering her for being honest and trustworthy with money, just like her father.
They will remember you. But they will remember Sara, who is standing for her principle of incorruptibility with regards to money, including her father, and you are trying to demonize her because of this confidentiality fund that she was asking.
It can be noted that Vice President Sara Duterte has already let go of the request for confidential and intelligence funds for her office next year, as it causes disunity, contrary to her sworn promise to promote a peaceful nation. For God and my beloved Philippines. This has been Daniela Paulita, SMNI News.
Over 100 former New People's Army or NPA rebels have received assistance from the Philippine government. MJ Mondihar has the details.
We came to know the former New People's Army commander known as alias Dodong. The New People's Army or NPA is the armed wing of the Communist Party of the Philippines or CPP. In 2011, Dodong was recruited by the Communist terrorist group and was also involved in recruiting indigenous peoples to join the NPA. However, he later realized that dedicating his life to the movement was leading nowhere. It reached to a point where they were instructed to kill civilians indiscriminately if they refused to support the NPA. Alias Dodong is just one of the 137 former NPA fighters who receive assistance from the Philippine government. The majority of them are indigenous people, commonly known as lumad. These indigenous people often lack formal education, making them susceptible to manipulation to oppose the government.
Ang tabang gihatag karon sa gobyerno sa MUA, panugod ni sa among pangabuhi. Bisag gamay ang among nadawat o dako na ni nga kapital.
The former rebels receive a cash assistance of 20,000 pesos under the Sustainable Livelihood Program of the Department of Social Welfare and Development and the NTF-LCAC. The government provides direct cash assistance to ensure the aid reaches the intended recipients. According to Sultan Kudarat Governor Datu Pax Ali Manguda Datu, their priority in the province is unity, especially among Muslims and Christians.
Ganon din ang turo sa atin ni Jesus Christ, na mahalin mo ang kapwa mo katulad ng pagmamahal mo sa iyong sarili. Dito sa lalawigan ng Sultan Kudarat, yan po ang ating tinaglalaban, na magkaisa ang Muslim, Kristiyano at lumad, na magkaroon po ng magandang ugnayan ang bawat tribo.
Sultan Kudarat is a melting pot of cultures within Muslim brothers and sisters, the Visayan-speaking people, the Ilonggo-speaking people, and Ilocano communities. The assistance coincided with a mass surrender during the week-long celebration of the Kalimutan Festival in Sultan Kudarat, ensuring that the former rebels are just starting to receive aid.
Opo, kanina namahagi po tayo sa bawat surrenderin ng 20,000 pesos each. Initial po yan. Ibig sabihin may darating pa na medical services, meron scholarship assistance sa kanilang mga anak, meron pang pabahay mula sa Department of Housing, at napakarami pang iba.
Due to the good governance promoted by the NTF-LCAC, a government agency established during the tenure of former President Rodrigo Duterte and is now being continued under the administration of President Bongbong Marcos Jr., is drawing more NPA rebels back into the folds of the government. Many former NPAs joined the Philippine Army to help encourage rebels who are still in the mountains to lay down their arms and cooperate with society.
Kitabangan ko nila, kitagaan kong trabaho o karon nahimo na ko usa ka takgo. Ug akong mangod, nahimo na pong usa ka regular na sundalo. Nakagraduate tong ning agi lang bulan. Kana ang dako na kong pagpasalamat sa gobyerno.
Of course, sir, we continue to call on sa mga naiiwan pa nating kababayan at kapwa Pilipino na nandun pa rin nagtatago sa kabundukan na ang inyong gobyerno ay handang tumulong sa inyo. Ang inyong gobyerno ay bukas ang palad para kayo ay tanggapin.
With that, Governor Mangudo Datu said that he will be sending more and more mobile hospitals to all of the IP communities here in Sultan Kudarat so that they will not be subjected to recruitment of the CTGs. For Ganamabul of Philippines, I'm Jay Mondihar, SMNI News.
In other news, the proposal for the digitalization of the prison record system in the country is making progress in the House of Representatives. Learn more in Jade Calabrosa's report.
So there's a motion to approve the bill in principle, and we will just refine the provisions, and we will present the revised version to the committee.
House Bill number 9194, a proposed law establishing the digital prison record system in the country, has passed the committee level in the House of Representatives. The proposed bill is supported by various agencies, including the Supreme Court, Department of Information and Communications Technology, Department of Budget and Management, Public Attorney's Office, Commission on Human Rights, Bureau of Jail Management and Penology, and Bureau of Correction. The bill filed by Ilocos Norte Representative Sandro Marcos and Aguimat Party List Representative Brian Revilla, along with other lawmakers, aim to computerize the records of persons deprived of liberties or PDLs for efficient case management and transparent prison data. Under the proposal, BJMP and Bucor are tasked with establishing the digital prison record system.
Basically, it is going to be a centralized record system. So essentially, it will not be just handled by one particular agency. So Bucor and as you mentioned, which is under the DOJ, and BAJMP will be under DILG. They will all both have still access on the system because this is going to be a unified scenario. We'll also be including the provincial jails also.
Some lawmakers emphasize the need for an administrator to ensure data safety and prevent unauthorized access.
But I wish to be enlightened as to who will be the administrator of the entire system, because I'm quite apprehensive that if all of these agencies will be given the same access as the administrator, meaning they can do anything they want in the system, we might compromise the security of our system.
Given that the ICT is here present, so we will be seeking the assistance of the ICT into securing the administration or then the monitoring of the records.
But the only way to make this really work is through a decentralized responsibility, but through blockchain technology. So meaning each system can be governed and administered each of the agencies individually, but they cannot alter anything without the authorization of everyone.
The salient features of the bill actually suggests that each particular agency, whether it's a Bucor or BJMP, they will have their own individual administrators, and that they cannot alter each other's records. So with the suggestion of Yusek Almiro, we will take that in consideration also of that possible use of blockchain technology.
Within 90 days of the proposal's effectiveness, Bucor and BJMP, with the assistance of the Department of Information and Communications Technology and other relevant agencies, will formulate rules and regulations for its proper implementation. According to Congressman Guangco, only minor changes remain in the proposal, and after that, it will undergo the second and third readings.
Reporting from the House of Representatives, for God and my beloved Philippines, this has been Jade Calabroso, SMNI News.
Former President Rodrigo Duterte shared his point of view following a local court's decision to grant bail to former Senator Laila De Lima. Daniela Polete has the news.
Well, in a way, I would not want to question the wisdom of the court in granting sa judge yan. So I will not discuss.
Former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte made the statement in his program Gikan sa Masa para sa Masa, aired in SMNI after a Muntinlupa court decided to grant bail to former Senator and Justice Secretary Laila De Lima, which happened after being jailed for more than 6 years. For 300,000 pesos, the Muntinlupa Regional Trial Court Branch 206 allowed the former senator to post bail together with co-accused former Bureau of Corrections Chief Franklin Jesus Bukayu, De Lima's former aide Ronnie Dayan, and former security aide Jad Dera, who were charged after the illegal drug trade. De Lima, a die-hard critic of former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, faced accusations of tolerating illegal drug trade inside Bilibid's maximum security compound during her time as Secretary of the Department of Justice between May 2013 to May 2015. Meanwhile, the former chief executive also commented on De Lima possibly coordinating with the International Criminal Court or ICC to investigate the drug war campaign under his administration.
Kung dito yung sa ICC, magsama-sama na kayo ng ICC, iha. Isali mo na si Trillanes, kayong mga, pati si Franz, kayo nagkunsabo kasi kayong mga left. Ba't kayo makaalam sa bayan ko? You do not. Huwag ninyo kaming gawin, Pilipino kami, sarili kaming justice system. At kung may ebidensya naman na may pinatay talaga ako na, ang sinasabi ko, extrajudicial killing. Tanungin ko sila, sinong pinatay ko? Magpangalan ka lang ng isa. Oo nga, 5. Sinong pinatay ko? Hindi ba tayo membro ng ICC? Bakit tayo pakialaman nila? Hindi naman tayo nakikialam sa kanila. I am not even opposing it. Go ahead. Come.
It can be remembered that the Philippines officially withdrew from the International Criminal Court in 2019. For God and my beloved Philippines, this has been Daniela Paulite, SMNI News.
Meanwhile, the government of Brazil issued health warnings across various locations nationwide after an intense and unprecedented heat wave grips the country. Natalia Prado for the details live. Natalia?
The National Institute of Meteorology in Brazil made health warnings amid concerns that above-average temperatures could pose a serious danger to health. Energy consumption across the country soared to record levels as people try to keep themselves cool. The intense heat wave is expected to last until Friday. Scientists warn that longer and more intense heat waves will continue as long as humans keep releasing greenhouse gases that warm the planet. In September, a powerful cyclone killed dozens of people and left around 2,300 others homeless.
Thank you, Natalia, for that update. Meanwhile, the government of Japan has been arranging a trip for the Prime Minister to visit Latin America next year. Nasimi Kojima reports.
Preparations are underway for Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida's proposed visit to Latin American nations by January 2024. The planned visit includes Brazil and Chile. Kishida wants to strengthen cooperation with Brazil as the South American country prepares to officially take over the G20 presidency next month. It can be remembered that the Japanese Prime Minister held bilateral talks with Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva on the sidelines of the expanded G7 summit in Hiroshima, Japan in May 2023. Kishida invited the Brazilian to attend the summit designed for the group of 7 nations, together with other countries from Southeast Asia and the Pacific. Meanwhile, Japan and Chile are both members of the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation and the Forum of East Asia-Latin America Cooperation. Ijo Nihon kara Kojima Natsumi, News Otsutai shimashita. SMNI News, Japan.
Health authorities from both Palestinian and Israeli sides report a total death of over 12,700 people. The Hamas media office stated that in the Gaza Strip alone, the death toll has reached 11,320. The Palestinian Health Ministry reported 196 deaths in the West Bank. The Palestinian Health Ministry reported on that same evening that 196 Palestinians had died in the West Bank. The Health Ministry stated that due to the almost complete cessation of services in hospitals in northern Gaza and communications disruptions, they are facing difficulties in compiling and updating casualty data. On the same day, the Palestinian official news agency WAFA cited data from the Palestinian Central Bureau of Statistics. 3,141 Palestinian students had died in Israeli airstrikes in various attacks, and 4,863 students have been injured. Additionally, 67 students in the West Bank have been arrested. Of school teachers and staff, 130 people have been killed and 403 people injured. The WAFA report stated that more than 200 public schools in the Gaza Strip had been targeted by bombings, with 45 of them suffering severe damage. Israeli authorities did not update the casualty data on Tuesday. Previously, the Israeli side revised the death toll from the Hamas attack on October 7th from about 1,400 people to about 1,200 people. Israel Defense Forces spokesperson Daniel Hagari on Tuesday stated that the fighting in the core area of the Gaza Strip is still ongoing. The Israeli military has gained control of several strongholds of Hamas in Gaza City. Meanwhile, the Al-Qassam brigades, the military wing of Hamas, claimed that they killed several Israeli soldiers and destroyed multiple Israeli vehicles on the same day. Arab and Muslim leaders blamed the West for the catastrophic humanitarian crisis in the Gaza Strip. Melchizedek Cadiz has the story.
Hypocrisy and double standards. These are just some of the charges being leveled at the West by leaders of Arab and Muslim countries who attended two emergency summits held in Saudi capital of Riyadh. Arab and Muslim leaders slammed the West, particularly the United States, for its failure to understand the region. They also blamed Israel and its supporters for the war and the destruction of lives and property in the besieged Palestinian territory and accused the Israeli military of committing a war crime. The foreign ministers questioned the West for condemning Russia's war with Ukraine, but allowed Israel to do the same thing in Gaza. The Arab and Muslim leaders called for an end to the humanitarian catastrophe in the Palestinian territory, but were divided in their stance in terms of ending diplomatic ties with Israel. Reporting this has been Melchizedek Cadiz, SMNI News, Kuwait.
Thailand has sent DNA samples of dozens of citizens listed as missing in Israel as efforts to identify casualties of war continues. Chatmakon Pisamaigasan has the details.
Thailand's Labor Ministry forwarded the DNA samples of 35 Thai nationals to Israel to aid in the identification of remains. The Foreign Ministry revealed that about 200 bodies are yet to be identified, some of them believed to be Asians, who along with others have suffered the same fate since the surprise attack launched by Hamas on October 7. The DNA samples of the 35 missing Thais were sent upon the request of Israel and will be compared with the recovered remains. As of date, 39 Thai nationals are confirmed to have died and 25 are being held hostage by Hamas since the war broke out. Out of an estimated 30,000 Thai workers in Israel, some 8,000 have since been repatriated. Experts believe the situation of the Thai expatriates in Israel has turned public opinion against Palestinians, which led to incidences of Islamophobia and anti-Palestinian rhetoric. Thailand is a Buddhist country with 95% of its population practicing Buddhism as their official religion, while the remaining 5% are Muslims. In October, Israel's ambassador to the United Nations, Gilad Erdan, shocked members of the United Nations General Assembly after he played a video of a Hamas terrorist trying to decapitate a severely injured Thai worker with a garden tool. Thai Prime Minister Sethar Thavisin has strongly disapproved of Israel's display of the video clip, noting that it triggered a sense of outrage among Thais and people worldwide. The Prime Minister has approved 50,000 baht compensation for each laborer who returns from Israel, on top of the 15,000 baht compensation offered by the government. รายงานจากกรุงเทพมหานคร นายชัดมงคลพิสมัยโกศล SMNI News ประเทศไทย สวัสดีครับ
More news when Newsline World returns.
SMNI Balita Totoo.
There is no country like the Philippines. This is the most beautiful country in the world.
Dapat lahat ng Pilipino magmahal sa Pilipinas.
365 days, 52 weeks, 8,760 hours, 24/7 uninterrupted service, all in the service of God and country. Indeed made a significant difference for the Philippines and the lives of every Filipino. But we will not stop here. This is just the beginning.
We already have that image right now of SMNI, that SMNI is already standing for the truth, that SMNI and its credibility is inviolable. That SMNI and its integrity is not for sale. That is the image that SMNI right now, because credibility to us is more than $1 billion pesos, as long as our credibility stands, that we are telling only the truth. That's why the tagline of SMNI is truth that matters.
For nation building, for upholding truth over narrative, for our beloved country, this is SMNI.
Kung akong tatanungin, kahit saang aspeto, gusto ko garantisado. Metikuloso akong tao, kaya gusto ko lahat maayos at sigurado. Lahat quality, yung hindi ako makukompromiso, pero sulit ang presyo. Ganyan ang clean fuel, kaya dito, panatag ang loob ko.
Magandang umaga po, sir. Full tank po.
Full tank. Gusto mo ng dekalidad na gasolina pero sulit ang halaga, mag-clean fuel ka.
Kabayan! Oo, ikaw. Alam mo ba na you can win lots of prizes when you bring home a guest in the Philippines? The Department of Tourism brings you the Visita Be My Guest program. Joining is easy. 1. Sign up as a sponsor. You can do this via the official BBMG website. All Filipinos of legal age living in the Philippines or abroad can join. 2. Invite your guests. The more you invite, the more chances of winning. And 3. Travel to the Philippines and upload your proof of travel to complete the registration process and earn e-raffle tickets and the BBMG travel passport and privilege card that you can use to get discounts as you travel around our award-winning destinations in the Philippines. Join now and get a chance to win in any of the 3 raffle dates in 2023. So what are you waiting for? Come home and bring a guest to the Philippines. Sign up, invite friends and family, and travel to the world's leading beach and dive destination and the world's leading country destination for tourism, the Philippines. Visita Be My Guest in the Philippines.
Hanap mo ba ay food cart business? At magsimula ng sariling negosyo na hindi kinakailangan ng franchise fee? Mura at abot kayang halaga? Narito ang SND Food Carts para sa iyo. Ang SND Food Carts ay gumagawa at nagsusupply ng mga mura at abot kayang halaga ng mga food stalls, bike carts, motor carts, kiosk, food van, mall carts, display racks, tables, chairs, at iba't ibang wood and metal products. Subok na matibay, maaasahan at mapagkakatiwalaan. Ang S&D Food Carts ay mayroong Luzon at Mindanao branch na pwede ninyong lapitan para sa negosyong swak na swak. S&D Food Cart, your partner to success. The healthy way to lose weight. Edmark's Power 4 Slimming Program. Step 1. Detoxify with Edmark Shake Off in Pandan and Lemon flavor. Fast, effective colon cleansing. See result after 6 hours. Step 2. Burn fat and nourish with Edmark's Meal Replacement Therapy. Organic formulation with low calorie, balanced nutrition, aids in losing weight and burns fat. Step 3. Balance and cleanse with Edmark's Splena Liquid Chlorophyll. Purifies the blood and balances pH. Step 4. Rejuvenate with Edmark's Ginseng Coffee. Energy Booster lowers blood pressure and memory enhancer. And Red Yeast Coffee. Cholesterol Buster. Anti-aging and prevents heart disease. Edmark Pasay franchise located at Empire Center, ground floor, and sa extension, Pasay City. For inquiries, contact Miss Bing at 0995-480-1026.
Stay with Edmark. Feel good now.
back for more news. Chinese President Xi Jinping and U.S. President Joe Biden held a summit meeting at Philole's historic house in San Francisco on Wednesday. The two leaders reportedly had a candid and in-depth exchange of their views and issues, as well as major issues affecting world peace and development. Meanwhile, former President Rodrigo Duterte shared his insights on this historic meeting and stressed the importance of friendship with China to avoid conflicts in this era of international amity. Let's get to know more about this with China Dakina.
Chinese President Xi Jinping expressed that China-U.S. relations should be perceived in a broader context during his recent meeting with U.S. President Joe Biden at Filoli Estate, located 40 kilometers south of San Francisco, California. He pointed out that the relationship, while not smooth over the past 50 years, has kept moving forward despite challenges. Major country competition, he believes, won't help resolve issues between China and the United States.
作为世界上最重要的双边关系，中美关系要放在世界百年变局加速演进这个大背景下来思考和谋划，为两国人民带来福祉，为人类进步展现担当。50多年来呢，中美关系从来不是一帆风顺的，总会有这样那样的问题，总是在曲折中向前发展。这么两个大国不打交道是不行的，想改变对方也是不切实际的。冲突对抗的后果是谁都不能承受的。我还是那个看法，大国竞争不是这个时代的底色，解决不了中美两国和世界面临的问题。这个地球容得下中美两国，我坚信呢，中美关系的前途是光明的。我和总统先生是中美关系的掌舵者，对人民、对世界、对历史都担负着沉甸甸的责任。我期待今天同总统先生就事关中美关系的战略性、全局性、方向性问题，事关世界和平和发展的重大问题，深入交换意见，达成新的共识。
Meanwhile, for U.S. President Joe Biden, this talk was significant to avoid misunderstandings and improve communication. He stressed the need to ensure that competition does not escalate into conflict and to manage it responsibly.
Mr. President, we know each other for a long time. Our meetings have always been candid, straightforward, and useful. I value our conversation because I think it's paramount that you and I understand each other clearly, leader to leader, with no misconceptions or miscommunication. We have to ensure that competition does not veer into conflict, and we also have to manage it responsibly.
Meanwhile, Philippines' former President Rodrigo Duterte sees the Xi-Biden meet as a positive step in this era of nuclear-armed nations. He stresses the importance of friendship over conflict.
So, in other words, Mayor, it is more profitable for us to make China our friend than our foe or enemy.
Yes, because at this time, we should be collecting friends. We should not be collecting sentiments or irritations to go above our head and just decide on anything that is not good. War is always violence. War is killing. War is destruction. So, the better practice. We are not, hindi naman tayo, comparatively, I think we're even, we're in parity with the others in terms of strength. May parity na, tabla-tabla tayo dyan eh. But, why go into a mess of let's just talk.
Before his departure, she was escorted by Biden to his vehicle, the Hanchi limousine, described as a beautiful car, similar to his custom Cadillac limo known as the Beast. This face-to-face meeting was their first since they met in Bali, Indonesia last year. For God and my beloved country, the Philippines, Shekinah Dikinya, SMNI News.
U.S. President Joe Biden labels Chinese President Xi Jinping as a dictator, despite reported progress in U.S.-China talks. Alisa Torres has the details.
U.S. President Joe Biden labeled Chinese President Xi Jinping a dictator during an off-camera event in California, citing ideological differences. This characterization follows a reported constructive meeting between the two leaders on the sidelines of the APEC summit.
Well, look, he is. I mean, he's a dictator in the sense that he is a guy who runs a country that is a communist country that's based on one government totally different than ours. Anyway.
Despite acknowledged progress in the talks addressing strained U.S.-China relations, his comments have the potential to strain diplomatic ties. Meanwhile, when asked about Biden's comments during the press briefing in California, Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Mao Ning said that Biden's words was absolutely wrong and that China objected to what it calls as irresponsible political manipulation. She also condemned attempts to sow discord between the two nations. To recall, Biden first called Xi a dictator in June, and this received a swift and angry response from Beijing, criticizing the statements for contradicting facts and violating diplomatic etiquette. The current geopolitical landscape has added tension to the U.S.-China relations, despite the leaders' warm personal history. Xi has consistently called for mutual understanding and open communication, emphasizing the importance of respectful dialogue. Reporting, this has been Alisa Torres, SMNI News.
In other news, Tesla welcomed Thailand's Prime Minister at the Fremont Factory in Northern California ahead of what could be a possible or potential partnership with other electric automakers in Thailand. Anissa de Guzman has the details.
Tesla warmly received Thai Prime Minister Srettha Thavisin and held discussions on the future collaborations on EV and clean energy as he pushes for the country to become the hub for EV and renewable energy in the years to come. For years, Tesla has been friendly with high officials representing countries in the Eastern Hemisphere, including India and Thailand. Thailand now strives to invest in Tesla in its country and bring some business capacity to the region, hoping to encourage the use and purchase of electric vehicles. In October, Thavisin announced his intent to meet with Tesla, and recently he engaged in talks with other Tesla officials. Thavisin toured the Fremont Factory on Monday, where Tesla built all its electric vehicles under the Gigafactory Shanghai went online in 2020. According to Thavisin's X account post, he was happy to visit Tesla's home in California and had a very productive discussion about collaboration in the future of EV and clean energy. He also hopes that this collaboration will strengthen Thailand as a hub for EV and renewable energy in the coming years. Recently, Tesla mentioned India, France, South Korea, Canada, and Chile as candidate countries where it might establish its next production plant. Di siya Anissa de Guzman, Dranganchak Kuntep Mahanakon, SMNI News, Pratatay, Sawadika.
Former President Rodrigo Duterte said he will campaign for candidates in the upcoming national elections. Shekinah Dikinya has the details.
Former President Rodrigo Duterte is planning to campaign for certain candidates in the next national elections. In his program Gikan sa Masa para sa Masa on SMNI with Pastor Apollo Sikibuloy, the former president mentioned that it might be better if he selects candidates to run in the next elections. This comes after a discussion on his program about the gradual departure of his former allies in PDP laban to other parties.
Ako, personally, mas maganda nga next election, ako lang ang PDP and I will magpatakbo ang mga tao na Pilipino na mauutak.
According to Duterte, he will campaign for candidates in the national elections to provide choices for Filipino voters.
Kayong mga Pilipino nakikinig ngayon, kung tatanggapin ninyo, mamimili ako bata na may mga prinsipyo. Lahat pati yung sa... Pero dito sa baba, meron pang mga local, marami pang paiwan. Pero kayong lagyan ko kayo ng kalaban at magkakampanya ako.
Duterte remains unfazed by moves of his PDP Laban colleagues and has initially stated that he doesn't care if he's the only one left in their party, despite congressmen retracting their previous strong support for him following the House's adoption of a resolution which also expresses solidarity and support for House Speaker Martin Romualdez. For God in my beloved country, the Philippines, Shekinah Dikinya, SMNI News.
Former President Rodrigo Duterte comments on the call to bring back the Philippine ambassador to China due to issues in the West Philippine Sea. Carlo de la Peña has the details.
Former President Rodrigo Duterte does not agree with a call made by a senator to bring back the Philippine ambassador to China. It can be recalled that Senator Francis Tolentino encouraged the government to recall Philippine ambassador to China Jaime Flor Cruz as a protest against Beijing's actions toward Philippine ships in the West Philippine Sea. In addition to Senator Tolentino, who is the chairman of the Senate Special Committee on Maritime and Admiralty Zones, Senator Jinggoy Estrada also joined the call to bring back the Philippine ambassador to China. However, according to Duterte, this suggestion would not bring any benefit to the country.
The suggestion of the recall of an ambassador is too abrupt and
too harsh.
Too harsh. That's the right word. Abrupt and too harsh, and it would do no good.
According to former President Duterte, it is better to emphasize diplomacy in both sides through discussions regarding the issue in the West Philippine Sea.
In the end, ito pagkatapos nito mag-usap pa rin eh.
Yes, ma'am.
So, better to just initiate diplomatic dito sa baba na to start initiatives of and look for ways of finding the right contacts, the right people to talk para mapapag-usapan at maayos to.
Meanwhile, Pastor Apollo C. Kibuloy asked Duterte about his opinion on what he perceives as the non-diplomatic approach of the Philippines towards China due to the territorial dispute.
Mayor, just recently, siguro kahapon yun o ngayon, there's an APEC summit in San Francisco, USA. In 6 years, it was the first time Xi Jinping, the president of China, went and attended the APEC summit meeting, and he was really royally welcomed in San Francisco by the American government. I mean, it's a royal welcome. So, dito naman sa atin, the hawkish side of those leaders who are into the West Philippine Sea issue, it seems to me that there is a non-diplomatic approach to China. And recently, there was a high level of condemnation of the latest harassment by the Chinese Coast Guard when our Philippine vessels was to resupply mission at the BRP Sierra Madre in Ayungin Shoal.
It can be noted that despite the rivalry between the two superpowers, China and the United States are still continuing their diplomatic communication. In fact, the United States has sent high-level government officials to China many times. The United States also sent a large delegation to the recently concluded 6th International Import Expo, or CIIE, as it wants to establish close cooperation with Beijing. And now, the much-anticipated meeting of U.S. President Joe Biden and Chinese President Xi Jinping in San Francisco for the APEC summit.
But Xi Jinping was there, and he was royally welcomed. And they are even talking about a military I think it's not an alliance, but a military joint exercise with the military of the USA and the military of China.
For FPRRD, the warm reception of Xi by the US holds a huge significance as it could lessen the threat of war and ease tensions in the West Philippine Sea.
Dito naman sa the royalty reception received by Xi Jinping of China sa Amerika is very significant. Very significant. Means to say that China and America are now within the ambit of diplomatic and maybe closer ties of the two countries. At pag nabuo ito, Pastor, malaking bagay ito para sa ating mundo.
Yeah.
So maybe we can say that we can escape the catastrophe of a nuclear war and Xi Jinping by nagpababa siya. Siya ang pumunta doon, makipagkaibigan.
Yeah.
So tama naman yung halos binigyan nila na ng almost a royal treatment kasi hindi basta-basta na pupunta ng I'm sure Xi Jinping gusto rin na ako na lang punta para pag-usapan natin ito at matapos na yung alita natin. Now, on this side, mapag-usapan natin ito vis-a-vis itong powers, magkakaasa ba tayo sa Amerika, itong West Philippine Sea. Ang Amerika hindi papasok dyan.
I'm sure he will not.
The former president strongly emphasized that talks, not war, are the solution to maritime dispute. Meanwhile, Pastor Apollo pointed out the reality that the United States cannot sever its ties with China. The good pastor also highlighted the sending of high-ranking senior U.S. government officials to China to maintain cooperation and diplomacy. This stands in contrast to the actions of some government officials in the Philippines today.
More likely, Mayor, kasi in the Zelensky-Russia war, America is not dependent on Russia for some of their production. That they are dependent upon China for semiconductor, many things, Mayor. Dependent ang Amerika sa ngayon. That's why they cannot decouple from China. Because marami silang kinukuha sa China na wala sa kanila. They are dependent on that. That's why kung ang China maging belligerent sa kanila, nakita mo pinapadala yung mga tulad yung kanilang Treasury Department Secretary to make friends with China. Tayo naman dito, para tayong we are more popist than the Pope.
Kaya nga, always maybe these guys are thinking that if we initiate any violent reaction or action there, that the big Sam, America would come to our succor.
No.
In America would say, alam mo, Adre, boundary lang yan, tubig yan. Huwag mo na akong guluhin dyan kasi yung China is almost like a friends to everybody because they are manufacturing all sorts of things. Kung anong gusto mo, gagawin nila.
It can be noted that China ranks third as the United States' largest trading partner. As for the Philippines, China is its largest trading partner. For God and my beloved Philippines, this has been Carlo de la Peña, SMNI News.
In a quiet ceremony, the team Walang Iwanan vowed to unite despite differing political affiliations. And Davao de Oro Vice Governor J.V. Tayrun Uy encouraged support for government initiatives. Chris Ortiz has the details.
Despite the noise and differences in political colors in the recent barangay and SK elections in Davao de Oro, the swearing-in of the newly elected officials transpired peacefully and smoothly. Alongside the oath-taking of the new officers, the winners, known as Team Walang Iwanan or Team No One Left Behind, promised not to recognize any political color in their jurisdictions when it comes to service and nation building. In an interview with SMNI News, Davao de Oro Vice Governor G.V. Tyrone Uy encouraged his fellow citizens to support the government and its commendable programs.
Let us support our government. Especially the administration of our President Bongbong Marcos and Vice President Inday Sara Duterte at itong nasa gobyerno na umuupo ngayon. As long as we see programs that can benefit the people, na sinimulan ko ang advokasya against yung mga terrorism, lalong-lalo na against the CPP and PNDF. Naging insurgency free na tayo noong 2022, and we want to sustain it here in Davao de Oro because we saw the gains na bear fruit sa mga paningkamot nato during the years passed by. And nakita natin na malaking benepisyo ang na-feel sa mga ordinaryong tao natin sa Davao de Oro.
As the day concludes, there is hope for a more prosperous and orderly future in Pantukan and the entire Davao de Oro. Unity, unbiased service, and dedication to the welfare of the people will serve as the foundation for genuine progress. For God and my beloved Philippines, this has been Chris Ortiz, SMNI News, Davao de Oro.
The United Arab Emirates is counting the days until world leaders gather in Dubai for a massive climate change summit. Gratiro Omori has the details.
Organizers have announced free passes to Expo City Dubai, where the venue of the largest UN climate change conference will be held starting at the end of the month. COP28, which stands for Conference of the Parties, is the 28th annual United Nations climate meeting to be hosted by the UAE from the 30th of November until the 12th of December 2023. The event will be held in the Expo City Dubai, which will be divided into two zones, Blue Zone and Green Zone. The Blue Zone is exclusive only for the heads of states and official delegates of the summit, as well as the media. Meanwhile, the free passes offered by the organizers are dedicated only to Green Zone areas, which members of the public could access during the entire duration of the event. Among the main attractions featured in the Green Zone is the Expo City Farm, which will show visitors firsthand how fruits and vegetables are grown in the desert. The summit will be a test of climate commitments and ambitions of participating countries, particularly at a time when 2023 was declared as the hottest year on record by scientists. Major world leaders, leading scientists, journalists, and celebrities will be present during the Climate Summit from November 30 to December 12. Reporting from Dubai, this has been Gratero Omori, SMNI News, United Arab Emirates.
And before we end, may be inspired with the message of the appointed Son of God. It is also wise for leaders to consider ascribing the glory to whom power belongs, never to himself. Rulers are to be honored as a man, never to be worshipped as a god. And for our Christmas countdown, it's 38 days to go before Christmas. That's all for today's edition of Newsline World. For more news update, you may visit SMNINewsChannel.com or follow us on our official social media accounts on Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. For God and my beloved the country, the Philippines, I'm Kristel Guangco. Thank you for watching Newsline World. And thank you to our beloved pastor, Pastor Apollo C. Kibuloy, for the opportunity to be part of this program. May you continue to listen on SMNI as it delivers nothing but fair, truthful, and balanced news. For SMNI is your source of credible news.
Tatanungin, ang aspeto gusto ko garantisado. Metikuloso akong tao, kaya gusto ko lahat maayos at sigurado. Lahat quality, yung hindi ako makukompromiso pero sulit ang presyo. Ganyan ang clean fuel, kaya dito panatag ang loob ko. Utang. Kung gusto mo ng dekalidad na gasolina pero sulit ang halaga, mag-clean fuel ka.
This is SMNI News Channel. Truth that matters.
Looking for a way out of the hustle and bustle of this fast-paced world? Seeking inner peace, purpose, redirection, true freedom, and salvation? Look no further. Tune in to the programs of the appointed Son of God, Pastor Apollo C. Kibuloy, and listen to the manna of revelations delivered straight to you. Watch Sounds of Worship, The Gospel of the Kingdom, ACQ Classics, Give Us This Day, Powerline, and Spotlight, only here on SMNI. These programs are simulcast internationally in 200 countries and territories and 2,000 cities in Asia, Europe, North,